say, well, guess again. A 16-year-old boy was actually arrested under the Patriot Act with no evidence whatsoever. I mean, here's the story.
Imagine if your family was awakened in the middle of the night by a team of federal officers. Well, that's exactly what happened to a woman and her children in Granville County.
Amanda Lamb is in the newsroom joining us now. And Amanda, we understand that because this case falls under the Patriot Act, a lot of the usual rights for defendants not available here.
That's right, David. The Patriot Act was created after 9/11. It allows federal agents to investigate suspected cases of terrorism swiftly in order to better protect our country. But one Granville County mother says it gives the federal government too much leeway. Her son was taken into federal custody 2 months ago. She can't get him out, and she can't get any answers. 16-year-old Ashton Lundberg's bedroom is nothing if not patriotic. American flags everywhere. But according to the United States government, this 10th grader, who has never been in trouble with the law before, is now a suspected terrorist.
I was terrified. There were guns, and I don't like guns around my children. I don't believe in guns.
On March 5th, around 10 o'clock in the evening, Annette Lundberg says 10 armed FBI agents, along with 3 local officers, stormed her home looking for her son. They handcuffed him and presented her with a search warrant.
They said that he was being arrested for making numerous bomb threats.
Annette Lundberg told the officers that someone stole her son's IP address and used it to make crank calls through the internet, making it look like the calls had originated from her home. She says the FBI's extensive search of her home turned up nothing.
No bomb-making materials, not even a blasting cap, not even a wire, not even, I mean, I don't even know how to make bombs, but they didn't find anything.
The teenager was taken to a juvenile facility in Indiana, where the bomb threat was supposedly made. His mother has had little access to him since his arrest. She says the Patriot Act stripped her son of his right to due process.
And we have no rights under the Patriot Act to even defend them, because the Patriot Act supersedes, basically, is superseding the Constitution.
There's nothing a matter of public record. All those normal rights are just suspended in the air.
Dan Boyce is a former U.S. attorney.
It's a new law, and I'm sure...
Now, I'd play the rest of that for you, but we are kind of running short of time, and that's only one of the many cases where individuals have been charged under the Patriot Act for no good reason. You even have a Department of Justice official admitting that the Patriot Act was intended to be used as a weapon against us, the people, when he was questioned by Senator Russ Feingold. And, you know, I'll play it for you right now.
Chris, let me start by reiterating something you and I have talked about previously, and that's my concern that critical information about the implementation of the Patriot Act has not been made public, information that I believe would have a significant impact on the debate. I urge you to move expeditiously on the request that I and others in this committee have made before the legislative process is over. Now, in Suzanne Spaulding's testimony for the next panel, she argues that additional safeguards are needed in the context of intelligence investigations because of the very broad scope of intelligence investigations, the secrecy with which they must be conducted, and the fact that they often do not lead to prosecution. That is, we have to take into account that safeguards inherent to criminal investigations are simply not always present in the context of intelligence investigations. Mr. Chris, do you agree that additional vigilance is needed in the context of intelligence investigations?
Yes.
And in fact, isn't that what was demonstrated, at least in part, by the IG reports on national security letters?
Well, I think the problems that Mr. Fine found are significant. I think they've been remedied. I'm not sure that those are inherent in an intelligence use of NSLs, but I mean, certainly they are significant and they warrant attention, and I think they've gotten a lot of attention.
Mr. Fine, would you agree that the lack of safeguards contributed to the misuse of NSLs?
I think to some extent the fact that they were not transparent does produce an environment where there needs to be more significant vigilance.
Mr. Chris, as you know, the Patriot Act provided statutory authority for the government to obtain special sneak and peek criminal search warrants that allow agents to break into Americans' homes and conduct secret searches without telling them for weeks, months, or even longer. It is true, isn't it, that these searches can be conducted also in run-of-the-mill criminal cases and do not require any connection to terrorism?
That's true, both before
and... In fact, according to a July 2009 report of the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, isn't that exactly how this authority has most recently been used? The report shows that in fiscal year 2008, sneak and peek search warrants were requested 763 times, but only 3 of those initial requests, just 3, were in terrorism cases. The vast majority were for drug cases. Is that your understanding of that report, and does it concern you at all?
It is my understanding, and I want to say thank you to your staff who alerted me and allowed me to read the report in advance of this hearing. It does say here that 65% of these are criminal sneak and peek, were in drug cases. Obviously, just to make something clear, which I know you understand, that on the FISA side, the searches that we do pursuant to FISA are not exactly sneak and peek. They're generally covert altogether. So this authority here on the sneak and peek side, on the criminal side, is not meant for intelligence. It's for criminal cases. So I guess it's not surprising to me that it applies in drug cases.
As I recall, it was in something called the USA Patriot Act, which was passed in a rush after an attack on 9/11 that had to do with terrorism. It didn't have to do with regular run-of-the-mill criminal cases. Let me tell you why I'm concerned about these numbers. That's not how this was sold to the American people. It was sold, as stated on DOJ's website in 2005, as being necessary, quote, to conduct investigations without tipping off terrorists. I'm going to say it's quite extraordinary to grant government agents the statutory authority to secretly break into Americans' homes in criminal cases. And I think some Americans might be concerned that it's been used hundreds of times in just a single year in non-terrorism cases. And that's why I'm proposing additional safeguards to make sure that this authority is available where necessary, but not in virtually every criminal case, and also to shorten the time period for notification.
Well, I don't mean to quibble with you. I do want to just point out one thing, which is I mean, before when I was trying to carve out FISA, just to clarify that FISA is a different authority where it is covert. And also, if it's...
Okay, I'm going to see if I have any calls. Now they got to be pretty brief because I'm going to time. My number is 646-378-1514, 646-378-1514. Let's see, do I have any? Let's see, it looks like I don't have any. That's all for today. This was the March 14th broadcast of the Jerry Ciolino Show. If you missed any of this broadcast, you can see it on my account on Blog Talk Radio, www.blogtalkradio.com/BladeEdge86. Or you can see it on my YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/BladeEdge86. This is Jerry Ciolino. Until next time, I will see you later.